Slovenia. Are you all good? Yes? What a brilliant start to this day. That's the crescendo. That's like we said, we keep raising it up. Every session, we're going to keep turning up the volume, turning up the vibration, and we'd like all of us to be on this journey together. So you're ready, right? Seatbelts fastened? Good, good. Yeah, stay uptight because we are welcoming some very special ladies for this session because we're rising beyond rivalry. We know this idea when we tap into our own unique creative flows that is available to us, which is a wellspring, which actually originates at the point of our breath. We tuned in this morning. We know that our breath is our most genuine guide, our guru. So when we tap into that unique creative flow, there is no competition. Speaking to us about this topic, we're going to be welcoming some very special ladies. Please join me in welcoming Lydia Pavlin. From Slovenia, a very special sister. She is the managing director of Nicha. Helping people, helping women all over Slovenia to find their own unique destiny. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Yeah, we're twinning in green. Welcoming Favor Onabanjo. The founder of Talents Brand Limited, coming from the United Kingdom, helping women on their entrepreneurial journeys, coaching, training, and helping them unleash their highest of potentials. Welcoming you. Me, Elferferson? Wait, yes. Oh, there you are. Me. I'm just going to go with me. Welcoming the lovely me from the UK, a vlog coach running the Vlog Academy, teaching thousands of people how to grow their online businesses and their online presence. You need her number, just saying. Welcoming Dr. Sasha Bavitz. Representing the diversity on our panel, the Managing Director, Systems Division and Group Managing Director at Knauf Insulation, Belgium. It's a privilege to have you with us, sir. Welcoming a very, very, very dear soul sister, Andrea Cepush, the founder of Accelerator of Conscious Creation, platform for accelerating consciousness, creative communication, and activating your innermost potential. Welcoming you, beautiful Andreas. Without further ado, we're going to take a deep dive into eradicating rivalry by speaking with Lydia Pavlin.
Good morning. Good morning, dear soul sisters and dear soul brothers. You see, green I feel. You probably have noticed by now how proud we are of our country, and so proud that we even dress green. And I invite you to come back in a couple of months when the country will be totally green. I like Mansi very much and her style. I would like to relax this atmosphere a little bit, and I will take your answer, your question. Actually, are you alive? Are you alive? Well, you will have to prove it now. I would like you to get up on your feet.
Yes.
We have been doing many things. We have been doing exercises with Sunil yesterday, meditations and everything, but we haven't been singing. Maybe you have noticed yesterday that I was singing in the choir. Yes. I have my soul sisters here from the choir who will help you, and I know Galia sings and everybody sings, and you all know the song we sang yesterday, like Staying Alive. It's, right? Whether you're brother, whether you're mother, you're staying alive, feel the city breaking and everybody shaking, you're staying alive. Okay, so let's sing it together. I will give you a sign, 1, 2, 3 now, and we start. 1, 2, 3 now. Whether you're brother or whether you're mother, you're staying alive, feel the city breaking and everybody shaking, you're staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. Okay, that was pretty good. But now I would like to do another version, which was invented by our choir, and it's a rap version. Now, first do this with this hand, and this with this hand, and then use both hands, okay? And we do the rap version. 1, 2, 3, now. 1, 2, 3, now. Whether you're brother, whether you're mother, you're staying alive, feel the city breaking and everybody shaking, you're staying alive, staying alive. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That wasn't planned, so I do hope, Sasha, I still have my 8 minutes. Can we restart? I do have this to talk serious things. Okay, thank you so much. So my presentation, as I think Sharon said, it's a Women Economic Forum, and it goes towards women economic independence. And one thing of getting there is by establishing and running your own business. I would like to talk about women entrepreneurship. And the statistics show that there are less women entering and running their business everywhere in the world. The ratio is different. It doesn't even matter, the ratio between men and women and, you know, the percentage. But this is the fact. So less women. The statistics also say that women are most likely to be refused financial funds when they start their businesses. Their networks are worse than men's. They do not have such good networks. We'll see about that later. They get less mentors. They still enter the business mostly, not all of them, mostly out of necessity, not out of desire. And they enter service industries which are easier and less demanding when it comes to capital. So I am running together with my sister here. Please, Marita, stand up. Our communication agency now for the last 16 years together. And believe me, if you go to business, this is advice number 1, go with someone you truly trust. It makes it much easier and makes it possible. So, and we got an assignment from our Ministry of Affairs a few years ago to do something to encourage women entrepreneurship in Slovenia. So we said, let's invite 100 women. It looked exactly like today here. See if there is interest. Well, all the places were filled in a couple of days. So the ministry gave us budget to invite another 100 women. So we did another event. And they gave us budget to invite another 100 women in Maribor. So we had 3 events. And then we ran out of budget. And I believe there were hundreds of women out there also wanting to hear what we had to say. And we invited speakers, women from real women entrepreneurs here in Slovenia, from different industries and also of different level of education. There was a woman with finished high school, and there was a woman with PhD degree. There was even one woman who came from Russia, and she had to fight other things too, which we didn't have to, like, you know, language, legislation, citizenship, etc. And they all made it. And the majority of questions which came from women in the hall were how am I going to balance family and business, and when is the right time to start, which Lucy asked me just a few minutes ago. Well, it's just right now. And we actually, with these stories, these ladies told the true stories about the fears they had, about obstacles they met, but also about the joy the business brings them, about financial independence, about growing, about enabling them to empower themselves. So when we ask them, do you have any regrets? Would you go back to your so-called secure jobs? Do you have any regrets? They had no regrets at all. So we actually encourage, after that event, few ladies to start their own businesses, and I'm really happy. Let's go back to the statistics that we don't have networks. This here is a marvelous example of networking, and we are going to grow this network together, right? So we do have networks, and a network like this is just priceless. Then let's go about we don't have mentors. I will go now back when I started, before I started to work with my sister. I actually started on my own 5 years earlier. And at the point when I started my own business, I was probably at the lowest point of my life. I had no job. I dropped my job overnight for it doesn't matter what reason. I had 2 girls who were 8 and 10 then. They're here now with me, grown-up girls. And at that time I was married to a husband who didn't support me, so I felt really miserable. I was crying at night when girls didn't see me. And then I got a phone call from a lady who didn't know me. He just heard from her girls, from the company I used to work with at the previous job. She was the marketing director at that company, and she called me and she offered me a job. And she said, listen, I heard about your situation. I'm offering you a job. It's not the best of the salary, but at least it's regular. What do you think? And it was very hard. I'd look at her and I said, well, you know, I think it's time for me to start on my own. I'm really miserable, but I have to now. And she looked back at me and she said, if I wasn't younger, I would do the same. Go get your papers, come back, and you will work with us, because we work with people, not with companies. So I got myself my first client, and it wasn't easy. It was hard after that. But I'm telling you about mentors. So I invited her, when we had that event for 100 women, I invited her, among others, also a few friends of mine. In the meantime, she got retired and she never stopped working. She built the house with her own hands, literally, and she was renting this house to tourists for 10 years. And after the event, she came to me and hugged me with tears, and she said, thank you for inviting me, because it's only today that I realized that I am actually an entrepreneur. And I said, of course you are. What did you think? And a good one too. So, you know, and another friend of mine, she's younger, she came to me and she said with these words exactly, she said, you are my mentor, Lydia. Thank you. And I said, what are you talking about? I just invited you to this event. She said, no, you are always there telling me that I can do better and more. I'm just not there yet. But she was. 2 years later, she started and she's doing well. And I'm saying about mentors. Mentors are people who you maybe don't even recognize. They're always willing to help you. And maybe you yourself, you are a mentor and you don't even realize that. So mentors are all around us like angels, I always say. So like just go for it and do it. And yes, well, statistics are statistics. The true stories are true stories. I'm not telling the fairy tales. I'm not telling that everyone succeeds. It's difficult, but it gives you lots of pleasure. Failing is okay. But not even trying is not okay. You should even try. You don't want to grow old and say, oh my gosh, I didn't even try. So go for it. Go back home. Encourage more soul sisters to do so. Yes, and you know, broaden our network, because this is why we are here, to help each other. And then there is no competition, right? We go to the title back. And while doing so, don't forget to have fun along, because, you know, if it's not fun, it's not worth it. And here I have to thank my sister. She is the happiness manager in our company. She is. I'm the tough one. She relaxes me. And there are not many occasions that I say that, and now I would like to thank you. Love you, sis. Thank you.
Thank you for such an authentic and loving sharing of your journey. It's most cherished for us, really, because you spoke about mentoring so much and its importance. I think it's really, we're a sum total of the sphere of influence that surrounds us, the soul sisters that we're surrounded with, that is our most cherished asset, really, because that's what builds us up. So you really spoke a lot about that, and I think thank you, Lydia. We travel to the United Kingdom now through the loving eyes of Favor Onabonjo, the founder of Talents Brand Limited, UK.
Thank you. Hello, Slovenia. Hello, lovely ladies. I would like to first of all say thank you to the lovely lady, Abina. God bless you for the initiation, for you, having this initiation to have this group. And thank you to Sasha and your team for putting the event together. And everyone else, you look gorgeous, you look lovely. Can I ask everyone to get a place? I'm not going to sing, because I love to, in as much as I love to sing, but I can't sing. Can I ask you to hold the hand of the person standing next to you and give them I-10. Give them I-10 that you are a winner. Congratulations for being here. I-10.
You are a winner.
The reason being, so many people have opportunity to be here today, but they aren't here. Okay. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, thank you. So many people have opportunity to be here today, but they aren't here. But you have chosen to be here to inspire others and to get inspired. So well done to you. So my name is Favor, and this is my first time I've been in this event. And I also want to say thank you to a friend who connected me to WEF. I'm a mom of 3. My first one is 8, and the last being a set of twins. They are only 4 years old. I work full-time, and I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm a coach and a trainer. I help women who are looking to start their own business from the scratch, using their own talents and passion, not just, picking up a business. Looking at the topic, rising beyond rivalry. I think the first question I'm going to throw at everyone is, what is your purpose? We are all allowed to join a race, to compete, but we are not competing against anyone else. We are only competing with ourselves. So how do I mean? Competing with yourself because you want to get better at what you do. You want to create a greater version of yourself. While I was growing up, I've always dreamed to work in an office. Coming back from Africa, originally I'm from Nigeria, western part of Africa. Have always wanted to work in an office. So as a result, the only thing I had to do was to go to the university. It was hard, but I fought all the battle. That was a long story. I had to change my name in the course of that. So eventually, I graduated as a banking and finance. And as I said earlier, I worked as a management, I work as a management accountant full-time. I, not quite long ago, I now realized my purpose. I asked myself that same question: what is my purpose in this world? What are my core values? What are the things that make me me? Until I found that purpose, I realized that numbers are not my things, even though I like math so much. But then I need to now create that better version of me. How? I then created Talent Brand. There's a story there, but not for today. But to relate it with this topic, rising above rivalry, while working as an accountant, I just wanted to utilize everything I have, get the best out of me, utilize what I have in the area where I am. So I looked at my career. I said, no, this number thing is not the thing. I need to search what else I could do. And I did my research. I realized that I could be a business partner, still within accounting, helping people. This is one of my core values, to help people. I love helping people. I love putting smiles on people's face. I love hearing people's problems and challenges and creating, supporting them. So when I found this area, I thought, yes, this is what I want. I like to partner with the head of departments, the directors, helping them to manage their finance, their budget. And since I discovered that, I realized that, well, I'm not competing, even though we have the same qualifications, even though we are both accountants, but I'm not competing with you. I have a purpose. My purpose is to help people. My purpose is to support people, to take their problem away from them and give them a solution. How can we come out of that sense of rivalry? How can we be the authentic that we are? I think it's going back to that question: who are you? What is your purpose? What are your core values? Once you are able to answer that question, you will know that we do not need to rival or compete with anyone else. Competing with somebody else means you want to help them to live their own value. You want to help them to live their own purpose, which doesn't bring happiness. So I would say, let's start by knowing who we are, start where we are currently, and start moving gradually, appreciating the very tiny thing we have, no matter how little it is. Let's appreciate ourselves. Let's learn to show gratitude to those little things. And the other thing we need to do is to develop ourselves. I found out that we ladies, we tend to move back when it comes to developing ourselves, attending a workshop, an event like this, going for training. It's very, very important. Because when you look at the basis for people who compete with others, it's lack of fear, lack of confidence. Because if we have confidence in what we do, we will realize that there's no reason for me to contend with my partner, with my friends, or my sister. Because I'm sure I'm content with what I have. Even if it's not where I really want to be, but I'm constantly working towards somewhere. And that is where I want to leave everyone today. Let's know our purpose, where we are here. How do you get to that level where you want to be? Start where you are and start working your way up there. Connect with people who have been there. Learn from them. There's no harm in that. But know that whatever you're doing is for our own self, is to create a greater version of ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Favor. Very powerful. Start where you are. Start here. Start now. This has been a reverberating theme through our morning today. if we're thinking, when do we begin and how we begin, we start here, we start now. The questions are answered right there. Thank you for that. Allow me to introduce you to this glamorous ex-actress from the television and movies. That was her past life. From Bond films to Kellogg's television commercials. There we are. Please welcome Mee Elferson from the UK, and now a vlog coach. Tell us everything. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm not going to say anything about that I'm not an actress. I'm behind the camera. So thank you so much. And I am so impressed. I'm just blown away with everything from beginning to end. This event is stunning, beautiful, and we're in love with Slovenia as well. Thank you so much. I feel so honored to be among these ladies and gentlemen. I am absolutely blown away by everything. So thank you. I'm so pleased to be here. So, yeah, on this stage as well. I'm impressed by so many people being here as well. You were rocking it, ladies, last night, weren't you? That band, wow. I had a WhatsApp video from my son. He's 14. He's in Oslo at the moment, and they went to the AHA concert. Anyone old enough to remember AHA? A Norwegian band? Yeah, boys band. Right, so he sent me a video. They had front row seats. Morten Harket, you know? So I sent him back a video of our band, Victory, yeah? No competition anymore. They were brilliant. They were brilliant. Thank you. Ladies, you were dancing. We're from the UK, and people would not have got up on their feet. They're too snobby about their music, and it would have been competition on the dance floor. There was no competition on the dance floor. You were just dancing, right? Yeah, you were dancing and having fun. You were in your flow. You were in your zone. You were just doing what you wanted to do, taking in the beat and doing the moves. Yeah. It was so much fun. And you know, that flow is so important for us. And when we can feel that, that's when we're our best selves. And that's when we can rise above that competition and just be ourselves. So it's easy enough to say that. How do I get in my flow state? How do I get in that zone to be my best self and not feel that I'm in competition? So it's good to give words to situations, isn't it, to make it easier. So I want to give you a few lead words. Because we do have competition. I know we have a few coaches here in the room. You know you have competition, right? There's a lot of coaches out there. So how do you stand out? As a business, you have your USP, your unique selling proposition or unique selling points. And we all know that it can't be about the cost. It can't be about the speed you work at. It has to go deeper, right? It has to be about those core values for the business that need to be aligned with yourself. But I like to call them not your unique selling proposition, but your unique superpower. We've heard it here before. And what are those? How do you access your unique superpower? And this is something I have actually thought of very recently, because we always talked about that there's a turning point in your life. Maybe something happens and you find what you want to do, and that can happen. But I think it is something we carry with us for a long time, maybe since birth. And that's why I like to allow you to think about your internal assets. Internal assets that you carry with you all life, right? And it's about bringing those out. It's not about what we wear. It's not about our hair or how long our lashes are and how high our heels are. It's about what you have internally that is more important than anything else if you are going to be able to succeed, not as a winner, but succeed with what you want to do in your life and make it a sustainable business for yourself that makes you happy, that allows for you to wake up every morning and feel joy for what you do so that you can keep doing that and being aligned with what you want to do as well. So those internal assets, if you take the letters, first letters, it's IA, right? So you could flip that around and you get AI, artificial intelligence, which is kind of the opposite, isn't it? The internal assets are the most true and authentic assets you have. No one can glue them onto you. They have to come from your inner self, your heart, your core values. They're not from here. And it's when we start overthinking things and try to be, if you're in business, you try to be your brand, right? It doesn't work. It's when the brand is reflecting who you are, that's when it works, and that's when it flows, right? So I'm going to leave you with, I'm going to leave you to ponder upon something, as they say in England, which is a way to find out. It's an interesting way. It could allow for you to find out what your internal assets are. And this is by going back in time, and this is what I do with my groups in my program. We go back to childhood, and I ask them, what was it that you did when you were a child? When you did what you wanted to do, not what your parents or teachers told you to do, but what you really enjoyed doing in your own time, without that many tools necessarily. Where were you and what did you do? And often we find, especially a little bit later in life, because many of us, especially women, we have a journey of work. A lot of people go into the city or work for law firms or big companies, and then, you hit 35, 40, you have children, and you feel like, I can't do this anymore. And then we revert back to our internal assets, and that is often what was going on all the way from childhood. So have a little think about what you did. I'd love to hear back from you if you want to connect and tell me if this made sense to you, and if it actually is the case that you now are using something in your work that you've had with you for all these years and now bring out. So ladies, I herewith give you license to bring out your internal assets. They are your biggest assets to go beyond and rise above your competition. Because when you feel that you are working from here, then there is no competition anymore, because you are all unique. That's it.
So beautiful. Thank you, Mi. You're glorious inside out. And every interaction that I've had with you, and I'm sure all of us will agree, every interaction you have with me, it leaves you with a sweet note of tenderness. It's just, there's something about your essence that is, it just scatters everywhere you go, everywhere you talk, the conversations you make. Thank you for really embodying that love. Welcoming Dr. Sasha Bouwits, the Group Managing Director of Knauf Insulations Belgium, creating insulation products with sustainability at their core. Welcome you, Dr. Sasha.
Good morning, ladies and the two gentlemen in the room. I would like to share with you my thoughts about creativity and how to unlock this creativity in yourself. And for those who are running the business, it's even more important how to unlock this creativity in your employees. But before I start talking about this, I would like to ask you, is there any volunteer in the room who would like to share his definition of what creativity is? That's one way. The- the-
ideas coming out of you.
That's also the other option. When you Google this thing, you figure out that there is probably hundreds and hundreds of different definitions. This is a word which is like sustainability. Means everything, means nothing. In principle, we are giving the meaning to this thing. The one I like, the one definition I like a lot, it's saying that it is a process of identifying problems, identifying gaps and disharmonies, thinking about those things, and at the end do something about those things, deliver the solutions. So it's about curiosity, creating the challenge. It's about creation, and it's about doing something about the things. So taking care that things are fixed. So, and when you think about this, it sounds very simple. It's three things: challenge, create, care. You see them also in our logo. But when you try to bring this in life, you find out it's not so easy. When I was 20 years ago now, a patent attorney in a big Slovenian pharmaceutical company, I thought it's very easy. You just take the patents, you show to your researchers where the gaps are in these territories which they're researching, and they are smart enough, they find the hidden gems. And it was true, they were very successful. We were at a certain point, I think the team of 5 people, we filed more than 50% of Slovenian patents filed in this year, which was a great thing. But still, it's only 5 people, and the companies are of the size of 5,000, 10,000, and you have to activate all of them. The other way to activate people's minds is to apply some of those business consultants concepts, like Blue Ocean or, let's say, Lean, continuous improvement, Six Sigma, all these, I would say, systems which guide you to the result, which systematically help you to explore the topic of interest. You look for these gaps, and they guide you to some solution. But it's again, you usually need consultants to help you with guiding you through this process. And at the end, it's again, you activate only a limited portion of the people in the company. It's not, I would say, engaging everybody. So if you want really to engage everybody, you have to do something else. If you want to unlock the doors to the brains and the hearts of your people in the company to become creative, there is something more to be done. One thing, maybe to think back, is when we were most creative in our lives. Probably when we were kids. At that time, it's so many things we don't know. Everything is new for us, and we are curious about looking at those things. And if you think when you're a child, you don't stop. You try to solve the problem. You try to overcome. Even if this is just a little bit too high bet to climb on, you find a solution. Not always the most, orthodox one, not always the one which you would use today. But you do something about those things. And when we are children, we do these things. But there is one thing, if you're all mothers, some of us fathers, and you observe your kids, you see that when they feel well, they are curious. They try to do things. When they don't feel well, they usually just cry somewhere and hope that somebody else will help them. I think it's very similar with us. When we feel well, we do things. We get curious. We are looking around us and then try to do something about this. I'm just coming from annual conference of our company, and we were looking a little bit the results on different programs we are running. And we figured out one common thing about the companies which were scoring the best in the health and safety, in the continuous improvement, in the customer centricity. It was one thing. Those companies were scoring best in the well-being part of the surveys. So the employees felt well, and that's what was their reward to the management and to... So their good scores were in principle reward to the managers for taking care for them to be well. And this is something what I would say, people cannot care about the others. They cannot look around if they don't feel well by themselves. You should feel well by yourself. Otherwise, you are just looking in you. You're thinking about your misery, why I cannot do better, these kind of things, and you're not able to look neither around things around you, not on the processes, not on the machines, not on the colleagues, not on the customers around. So if you feel well, you can look out. And I think this is the key thing for, I would say, more or less for everybody in any industry. We have to think how to make our people feel well, because I don't need one brains. I need all 1,000 brains. I need 2,000 brains in the company. I need their hearts to be able to get creativity. And when you have this, I would say, 2,000, 3,000 brains and hearts working for you, then good luck to competition. Nobody can beat you. And maybe just some last, I would say, my recommendation, if you want to have your employees to unlock their hearts and brains to you and be creative, take care that they feel well, take care that they feel empowered. If you want at home your kids to be creative, give them love, give them safety environment, and for yourself, just try to give your mental and physical well-being. I know there was a lot of mental well-being created already in these last 2 days here, especially with the party yesterday and so on. You can continue with creation of well-being today with a glass of wine and discussion over the lunch. And I suggest you take a walk in the nice Ljubljana sunshine after this event.
Thank you very much. And that's leading with love, leading with well-being. What a resounding message you leave us with. If we have more leaders like you in the corporate environment who're sending out this message of transformation, I think the world at large can be a better place. Thank you. Welcoming our last speaker for this insightful conversation, welcoming my dearest sister, Andrea Tsepush, the founder and leading force of Inveer, a platform for accelerating conscious creation. Yes, it's ready for you.
Thank you, Mansi. It's always so good to be with you on the stage or everywhere in the room. You know, she's lighting up the space. Welcome, everybody. And good morning or good day from my side. I think this topic is actually a very important topic. And I'm happy to be here to share a few of my thoughts on it. Why? Because I believe that what we address, we can understand. What we understand, we can open another perspective to. And when we open another perspective, we try to see it, not try, but we see it in another way. And then we can transform it. So that's why it's good to address something that it's maybe not such a light topic, because rivalry and competitiveness, it's not always a very pleasant topic to address or to speak or even to face. You know, the thought came to me just the other day, and I said, this is it. It was a thought that was saying, you know this saying that was going around, fake it till you make it? Well, it's not okay. It's better face it, and then you will make it. So, I faced it within my journey. I work with women for many years now, over a decade. I lead women's circles, I do retreats, workshops, I do it in corporate environment, I do it in other environment, private environment. I'm co-organizing retreats, conferences, and any other events. I'm very creative. But on this journey, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about collaboration. I learned a lot about rivalry. I learned a lot about things that are hidden and are behind, you know, that are not seen on the first sight. So I needed to face them within myself first, because this is how I do things. I'm Pisces. I like to dive deep. I don't like to stay on the surface. And I always say, what is behind this? And when I see what is behind this, I recognize it within myself. I can heal it, I can transform it, and so I can see it in others because I see it in myself. Well, there are studies that have been made, And I just saw the results that were published a few years ago in the Journal of Applicative Psychology. And these studies were made in USA, but I guess I think the results are applicable to every other environment, even ours. And these studies the researches were done on who in business or where in business environment the most harsh comments, judgments, and sneaky behavior and talking behind the back come from. And you know what were the results? The results were that they come from women to women. And men are not innocent, but women are far, far, far ahead of them. And now the silence. And yes, we can see this in our environment, in our business environment, and in any collaboration that we are part of, that it's present. But it's the matter how we address it. And this goes to the theory of the queen bee, I don't know if you heard about it, but the queen bee theory is that women rather collaborate with men because they were used, that goes back to the history, but because they were used to, strong women were not supported and were not even welcomed in their environment. So they needed to work hard. They needed to fight for their voice, for their place in the society, and they compete. They competed. They still do. But they repressed their emotions. They repressed their feminine side. They repressed a lot of things that made them vulnerable. And this is the luck in women. But, being harsh and fight for your place gives you a status maybe, but it not gives you happiness. And these women then like their women colleagues to go through the same process. And that's why a lot of poisonous arrows can be shot. And a lot of broken hearts can stay behind. Yes, it's a manner of a society, of raising, a trait goes back into the history, even from previous lives. But that's how it is. But now we are coming to the point where this is an open place for such things to address, to see where we stand in. There are 3 levels of competitiveness, and this is from anthropological studies. The first one is competing, because we want something, and we want to go for it, and sometimes we do not choose the means. And the other level, which is a bit harder, is envy. We want something that others have, and this can also leave some broken hearts behind. And the third level is jealousy. And this one is the hardest because it's linked to possessiveness. And this is what is present. This is what needs to be addressed in order to be healed. So back to the history, these women came far, they fought. The fight is still present. But now it's time to leave this fight behind. Because it's time, if we want this competitiveness to stop, we want to address it within ourselves, open to it, know what is there. Because once we recognize it, all our vulnerable parts, we can become whole within. And these parts are actually our strength. These are our strength that connects us to others. So when we share our stories, when we share our true stories, our true nature, then we come to a place from where we can connect to. And yes, this is one platform that it gives us opportunity to share our authentic nature. Then it's good to have women's circles for women to really meet in a safe place so that they're able to open in a presence of someone who knows how to hold this space. Because there is a lot of trust needed, a lot of authenticity. And once we do this, magic happens, The hearts start to open. The totally new perspective start to appear. So behind all this is actually pain of not being able to express this feminine intelligence, this feminine side, and then projecting it into a bit of, illusionary self-image that we have, that we are this strong woman or whatever, and then we project these other lacking ingredients that we want to another person. So once we face it, we can make it. And once we make it, we make the change. And once women feel, when we start to connect this way, in this soul way, in this heart wisdom, then women feel seen. Then women feel accepted, supported, and then they feel empowered to do the change in their environment. And I started in my local environment, because always wanting to be somewhere else brought me back to myself. And when I felt, I know who I am now, I know where I stand, I know where I can make a change. And I did it. I started in my local environment. I did a whole bunch, I threw a stone and opened a portal with women voices in my local city, Celje. It did a ripple effect, and I'm going on. And so opening this place for connecting, for truly connecting, gives space for true collaboration. And through collaboration starts change in local communities, then to global communities. So feel inspired, face it, don't be afraid of it. Don't feel afraid that you will lose your place in the society if you stop doing what you do. And be inspired to get to know who you truly are. Be your whole self, and from there is no competition, it's a collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you, Andreas, for capturing the essence of our theme for this discussion. Thank you for reclaiming rivalry with connections, with authenticity, with love, with our true nature, with magic, your magic. Thank you, Andreas. And thank you to each one of you for bringing your unique perspectives and journeys to us this morning. If you can all come together so we can shower you with gratitude and love for opening your hearts and souls to us this morning. Thank you. Thank you. We'll take a little coffee break. Good? You don't want it? Okay. You're so tuned in. No worries. Don't take it. Take it. Okay, we'll meet back in a half hour at 11:30. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If I could disrupt your moment of connections and have a seat, and we continue our connections and networking, which is imperative to us thriving in the world as individuals, as